Compounding works in debt fund, balance fund, equity fund, everywhere. So don't get into, in this year, even if R varies dramatically and variance is high, compounding will work. If you've got a 19% CAGR over a 20-year period or a 25-year period, your money is going to grow at a fantastic pace. Asset allocation, which I am speaking of, believe me, asset allocation will not work between debt and equity if the return in debt is about 8% and the return in equity is about, say, 16-17%. Believe me, whether you get into debt and equity and this and that and all that monkeying, even if you don't do over a long period of time, it will work if you're more in equity and less in debt. When asset allocation comes into play is when two asset classes are very close to each other. If one is giving you 8% return and one is giving you 10% return, it will matter whether you're here or there. But if one is giving 8 and one is giving 16 and you have learned to be mature during a bad period, long periods of time, that 16% will give you a higher return. There is no doubt about that. But as you get closer to withdrawing, you don't be into very volatile asset. And keep something like 70 years as a cutoff. For saying at 70, I want to move everything into a bank FD or an annuity or something. I don't have the mental ability now to monitor on a the result nana vandada, the fund manager because suddenly at 70 your brain may not work as you think it works. Right? So if you don't have anybody in the house who's interested, your son, daughter, son-in-law, nephew, then it gets a little difficult. And if you don't know whom to trust, you can get into some trouble. Third, cost. Over long periods of time, a 1% difference in cost can make a huge difference in your return. Right? So don't ignore cost. So a good fund which is doing well but has a 3.25% AMC charges, believe me, can't do very well over very long periods of time. That is going to act as such a big drag. And there is only one person who can protect you from the markets. That is you yourself. Not SEBI, not IRDA, not RBI, not a blogger, not a magazine. Nobody can protect you. Only you can protect yourself by learning. So believe me, costs are important. So have a look at cost. As the fund gets smarter and bigger, they quietly increase costs. So be careful about that. Look at costs. Costs are relevant. Even for an equity fund or for a debt fund. Obviously for a debt fund it is more relevant. Because the overall return gap between a bad fund and a good fund may not be. So the cost is very important. So look at the cost of a debt fund also. Don't just look at the immediate past return. Last 1 year, all yield funds have given 17 and 18% kind of return. It's not sustainable. Next year you will be thrilled if you get 10-11%. Right? So look at cost. And compounding, do not interrupt. This is very relevant. So, jumping between asset classes, removing to do something and leaving it. For example, many people take a dividend route. Okay, so suppose you get 12,000 rupees dividend. What will you do? It will come to your savings bank account and lie there. Right? So it should not happen. You have money, let it be in a growth plan. Whenever you need money, you withdraw. Do a systematic withdrawal. Right? So if you are in a higher tax bracket, today I think it's more relevant to go to a balance fund rather than being an equity fund and a debt fund. Because something like a NBFC Prudence, HDFC Balance and all, they're like rock stars of equity funds. They do very well in spite of having a 30-40%, 35% in debt. Right? Sometimes it goes to 37-40% in debt and they still do well. They give you a rocking performance. The advantage is that portion of the debt is also coming to you tax free. Right? So even though it's some portion in debt, that debt portion is coming to you tax free, and you're avoiding the yearly taxation. Right? I think I've exhausted. I brought this just to ensure that any questions.
So we have some financial illiterates.
Sorry?
We have some financial illiterates, so I'll call myself a financial illiterate. I've got no understanding. I'm a late starter. The awareness that I have to save came very late now. Right?
Invest.
Sure. Right. So I hear that. I hear that loud and clear. It's one of the efforts why I'm sitting in this group right now. But some of these terms that you just mentioned, some of these terms that you've put on the board, like asset classes, asset allocation, things that I don't necessarily relate to. What I've started doing is very simple SIPs with mutual funds through help of a financial planner. Is that the right approach? Is that...
Yeah, take into consideration the cost that the financial planner is charging you.
Okay.
Because there can be a financial planner who is adding tremendous value at 50,000 rupees per year. And there can be a financial planner who is actually screwing up your portfolio at 5,000 rupees a year.
Okay.
So it's like any professional. You can't judge a professional only by fees. You have to judge a professional by how open he is and what he does. And today the risk for any financial professional is you don't know anything, so I come and hug and kiss you and teach you everything, and after 3 years you can say thank you, you taught me everything, I don't need you. So that risk a financial professional runs today. So when you are going to him, he is gauging. So based on all that he is charging you. So based on all that, you see how much you can learn on your own and how much you can. Just understand one thing. In the financial service field, like in the field of doctors or anything, the fact that you're paying more does not mean you're getting good stuff. The fact that you're paying less or you're getting it free does not mean it's bad. So how you are able to judge a professional, and the number of things that you should know to be able to find whether he's a good professional or no is so high that by the time you finish all that, you can do it on your own. So the truth lies somewhere in between, saying, because two things. One is when Patu says you can do it on your own, it's because he's interested in that. Now if you think that Sundays are better spent with my wife and daughter going out to play tennis or things like that, for you, you're better off with a financial advisor. But if you say, no, I'm happy, I just need to spend 2 hours a week or 1 hour a month or 3 hours a month, depending on your interest level, you can decide what you want. So there is no one answer. Advisor, you decide.
Again, the other question is, it's hit. So I don't know what the difference is. So what we've done is we predominantly in the mutual fund space, right? I don't know if that's the space that you're referring to. I don't know if it's different. That's how illiterate I am, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to, because you can go directly into equities, direct equities. You can buy an ITC, you can buy a large minute to grow and things like that. But the challenge there is greater than in mutual funds. Like, you can't go very wrong if you buy the most popular car in the country. Right? Last year, most popular car was Swift Desire. If you buy Swift Desire, rental election it can't be too bad a decision. Right? You can't go very wrong. Whereas here, on your own, you can make some big mistakes, and one big mistake can wipe out all your smartness which you did. So it's a little more risky. I'm not saying it can't be done, but the question is, are you willing to invest in education to do it? If you don't want to, then no.
This is regarding a question on PPF. So in your blog, in several places I've seen that you are quite critical about PPF.
No, I'm not critical about PPF. Let me put it this way. If you have only 1 lakh rupees to invest in a year and you put it in PPF, it is wrong. If you have 20 lakhs to invest and you put 1 lakh in PPF, that's okay. So a small percentage should be in PPF, not everything that you have. Unfortunately, in Indian conditions, people put everything in PPF. So a young kid who is just starting life and earning 2.5 lakhs or 3 lakhs would do a 1,000 rupee SIP but put 1.5 lakhs in PPF. That doesn't make sense. So don't put too much into PPF. When you are young, you have to put much more into equity. By the time you are 50, you can put more into PPF, provided assuming that you build up a good equity portfolio budget. So PPF is not irrelevant. PPF is relevant. Open an account for you, your wife, your kid, but don't put more than 20% into PPF when you're young. At a later stage, you can put more. See whether your overall portfolio is giving you a real return. PPF, LIC endowment policies are not giving you a return more than 8-9%. Right? That's bad. Yeah.
Asset allocation.
Yeah.
How do we get to arrive at what ratios we want to do it?
Because that's always been some confusing thing for me. For example, I work in a bank. I am also a cost accountant, so I understand finance and these things. But still, when I speak to somebody in my own bank, my the private banking group and people like that.
Which bank?
HDFC. So there's a template.
I'm not wearing a bulletproof. You can shoot.
There is a template, and they say, okay, you're not an aggressive, you don't want to be an aggressive investor, you're a moderate investor, and hence you do 50% in debt. But I tried many times to even slightly go, but I could never go. I always remained in the equity and mutual fund. So when do I start? I'm 35, 36.
But you are into equities and mutual funds. What more do you want? What do you want?
That's what I want to understand whether when is that I should move to the debt piece of it. Because the only debt, in terms of equity and debt, the only debt piece which I have today is the PF that my bank collects.
That's fine.
That's it.
That's fine. That is only going into debt. So you don't have a PPF.
No, I don't have a PPF.
I don't have any LIC endowment policy.
I don't have. I only have a term policy.
You're born in India.
I only have.
Appa, Chitapa, Mama, Pagadada, Mama, they left you without buying. Very good. So you're very lucky. Okay, so if you're more into equity, that's fine. Overall, as long as you are comfortable with that asset allocation. See, an asset allocation should let you sleep at night. Okay, that's important. I can be 100% in equity and sleep at night. He can be 100% in debt and sleep at night. The question is, if your money is growing at a pace at which you want it to grow, it's fine. So, if your RMs are the people that you are asking, you ask somebody else also. RMs are duty bound to push products. With all due respect to Aditya, he has created wealth for me, so I have respect for him. But I don't think the bank is very apologetic about screwing its own employees in their asset And I know people in your bank who are in HR and legal don't have a great asset done by their RMs.
I keep even a small team which I keep asking these guys. It's a very surprising answer which I get. As you started risk, there are people who don't even have even 10,000 of
Equity.
equity, 10,000 of insurance, nothing. What do you do? Okay, chal raha hai, it moves on in the savings bank account.
That's good. See, the problem with risk is, after it has happened, there's no point in saying, I told you you should have done that. Do you have the ability to convince him today that he should take insurance? If you don't have, it's irrelevant. After he dies, there's no point in telling his wife, we don't do that. You didn't say it loud enough for him to act. Then keep your mouth shut. You can't do anything. Fact is, everybody. If somebody listens to you, great. Somebody doesn't listen to you, bad luck. So people don't understand risk, they don't understand risk. The biggest risk is not understanding risk. Right? Not understanding the risk that you are taking is this. It's like you go to Serengeti Park and there are boards that says don't get down, don't get off the car. You get off the car, take a photograph of a giraffe and you come back and sit in your car and say, Abba, what did you get? You got a thrill. What is the worst thing? A lion could have killed you. So did you take a risk? Yes, you took the risk. Was it a smart risk? No, it was the stupidest risk you took. But you didn't die. So you come back and say, I'm a very brave man. It's like I can drink 3 pegs and drive a Mercedes Benz and reach from here to say Pondicherry in 20 minutes. Was I being brave? No, I was just being lucky that I reached alive. So it's being stupid. People do it. People don't take insurance, people cross tracks, people drink and drive. All people take risks. When nothing happens, it's oh, he's such a brave guy. Move, take a photo to drive. I don't know. He got lucky. Once you're lucky, then I bro, Vashima put it. Vashima track cross பண்ணிட்டு என்னைக்கு வண்டி அடிக்கிறதோ வண்டி is not going to last you. எவ்வளவு வருஷம் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் இருக்கும் அப்ப ஒன்னு அடிக்க மாட்டேன் நீ போயிடு வண்டி கேட்காது வண்டி அடிக்கும் அடிச்சு நினைச்ச அன்னைக்கு அப்பா 50 வருஷமா ப்ரோல் பண்றாங்க, இன்னைக்கு தான் அடிபட்டோம், முதல் நாளே அடிபட்டணும், ஒரு நாள் அடிபட்டணும். So the risk doesn't go away. Your ability to see the risk goes away because it has not hit you. Then you believe it's not there. That's the problem with risk. When it hits, it hits. Even people with experience. So a Barings bank with 300 years goes down in 1 week. That is risk. Barings bank can say, 300 வருஷமா ஒண்ணும் ஆகல. ஒரு நாள் தான் ஆச்சு. 89 years, my grandfather has not died even one day. He died only once here. It doesn't mean he's Bhishma Pitama that he will not die. He will die. He's not at 89 and 99, not 109. One day he will die, no. That's what risk is. If you died before the hit hit you, you will great. Bad luck, good luck, bad luck. So your asset allocation has to do two things. It has to meet your goals and it has to let you sleep. So you write down your goals. He's got goals calculators. So write down your goals and see how much you need. So if you're meeting that, you're fine with your asset allocation. If you're not meeting, reduce your goals or change your asset allocation. Both you can do. நான் மாதம் 5000 ரூபா தான் சேவ் பண்ணுவேன், 3 வருஷத்துல மர்சிடிஸ் வாங்கணும்னா முடியாது. 5000 ரூபா தான் சேவ் பண்ணுவேன்னா உனக்கு ஒரு இண்டிகாவோ இது தான் கிடைக்கும். இல்லை நான் மாதத்துக்கு 1 லட்சம் ரூபா சேவ் பண்ணுவேன், யூ கேன் பை மர்சிடிஸ். நான் 5000 தான் சேவ் பண்ணுவேன், மர்சிடிஸ் தான் வாங்கணும்னா அது என்ன மேஜிக்கா? முடியாது. So goals are wrong or the amount that you are committing to it is wrong. Right? Either reduce the size of the goals or increase this. If you can't increase this, you have to reduce this. What is your choice? Cool को आसन में से क्यों आसन उड़े? Cool को जब नीचे लोट दो. Then you have to go and wash your face. Yeah.
Sir, I'm an Ivite in financial things, so I'm going to ask a very stupid question, I think. So you shout at me. But anyway, I'll ask. I understand the volatility. Every 4 years it goes up and down. Okay, sometime. Okay.
It goes up and down.
Okay,
Every
it goes-
4 years, na we'll all be
No, no.
Yeah.
It goes up and down. So I'm going to ask about the extreme events. In 1929, there was this Great Depression, and 2008, this meltdown in the US. So if we are going to live through such a thing, I mean, what is going to happen to our investment?
It depends on whether you can switch off your ticker channels and watch Discovery. What's your age now?
33.
Do you know the best thing in life for you to happen now is a 50, 60, 70% meltdown. Okay? The market falls from 30,000 to 18,000. This is a 40% kind of a fall. And then slowly goes up. That is much better for you than the market going from 30,000 to 60,000 in 1.5 years and then stagnating at 60 for another 10 years. For this whole class, all those of you below 40, the best thing to happen is the market melt down. Okay? Not a going up. Because you are buying. How does it matter? But when it goes up, psychology, you wouldn't cause it. People think, invest you actually should be praying for a market meltdown over the next 20 years when you're buying and then the market to go up. Market kuda pona, you should celebrate. You're doing exactly the ulta. Market mela pona will celebrate. The ticker channels are the pawn industry of financial planning. They can excite you about irrelevant things. It is doing nothing for your relationship. You get excited, red color, blue color,
But those two extreme events, we don't have to worry, right?
You don't have to worry. What can you do by worrying? Tell me, what can you do by worrying? If you were there in the market in 2006 to 2015, see how it has worked out. It would have worked out well for you. So what if it went down, came up? You have to believe that you are going to. Now, if the problem is not with the market, the problem is with your reaction to the market. Market only jalda pannu, okay? It will do all this. The problem is at this stage you think, oh fuck, so here you buy, and here you sell in panic. If you didn't do anything, this is what would have happened to your money. What's so bad? Your ability to stay calm is important. Your inability to stay calm is the problem of your losses.
Other questions. Goal-based investing. Say I am investing for say 4 or 5 goals.
Okay.
Every has an end point for every goal.
Okay.
So how should I be reacting? Say when the first goal amount is there, right? Should I take it off and then put it in a FD and be safe with it, or should I just continue to see?
Okay. Tell me your goal.
Am I
You have a
lucky?
child. You have a child. Which goal? Which is your closest goal?
Education is the closest
So
goal.
what is your son's age or daughter's age, whatever?
10 years.
Okay. When do you need the money?
17, 18 years I need the money for the education.
Okay. Let us say you need, just putting a figure, you need 15 lakhs and your kid is 18. So at 10, you have an 8-year period. It's not a great amount of money to be put in equity. So assuming you put in a balance fund, you put here, you put here. Suppose when he is say 15 years, this has become 12 lakhs. You know one thing. நான் இப்போ ஒண்ணுமே பண்ண வேண்டாம். இதை எடுத்து நம்ம பேங்க் FD-ல போட்டாலே இது 15 ஆயிடும். Over the next 3 years. Now don't get greedy. Because in these 3 years it can get wiped out. So when you're close to the goal and you know a simple non-volatile asset like debt will reach you to 15 lakhs and 15 lakhs is the number you want, you remove this and put it into a debt. Now don't get greedy. Don't change your goal based on your past experience. Because what has happened somewhere between 10 to 15 it has done very well. So you have reached 12. When you reach 12, don't become greedy and don't change the goalpost.
The other idea was something bad idea, I know now, but maybe if I retain this, if I were to actually plan for all the 5 goals put together, I plan for say 20-year period. If I retain this and if things go well,
If things go wrong, what happens?
yeah, so now I got the answer. So
If things go well, fantastic. If things go wrong, what happens? That is the question you have to answer in the short term. If things go right, what happens is what is the question answer in the long term. Now if this, suppose you didn't touch it at all, okay, and it became 25 lakhs. Fantastic. You take 15 for this and you put 10 lakhs into some other daughter's wedding or buying a house, something like that. What happens is if this 12 becomes only 30. It means that 2 lakhs has to come from some other goal. So don't do that. In the short run, don't try predicting market. For the next 3 years, you don't know what will happen. Like everybody is saying, oh, last year was 27%, this year will be 27%. Why? And if you see from 2009, 2008, the market went to 9,000. So I've been on Facebook and on the blog said 9 to 30 from in 5-6 years. It's a fantastic return. Why can't it come down? Why can't it go down to 25? I said it when it was 30. Now it is 27. Now people think will you go to 25? I have no clue. But be ready for volatility. Don't say volatility is to happen after I have sold. No, volatility will happen whenever. Right? So courtesy is not working if you wait. It's so foolish. You don't wait till the last day. So about 3 years ago, you had enough money to put it into a debt fund. Not that much. What if this goal was say 20 years later for your retirement or something? You fool around. Market can go up, market can go down. But closer to the goal, being less volatile, etc.
now that translates into asset allocation execution. When to execute asset allocation.
Here you go from a strategic asset allocation to a tactical asset allocation. Here the relevance is not your age, it is the relevance is the goal time period. This is 3 years. So why is 32, why is 52 doesn't matter. You need this in 3 years. Therefore here you do a tactical asset allocation, not a strategic. Strategic asset allocation, what you do in your life. 70% in equity, 30% in debt. But in the goal, the life age doesn't matter, goal age matters. Goal age is only 3 years. Goal-based investing is a brilliant book which is going to come out soon. It's going to be co-authored by me and Patu. Because you asked for goal-based investing and sorry, ask him. I've done the writing. Let's do the Excel sheet. Word document, Excel sheet.
Yeah, so one of the recent things which I think from your blog or Abdul's blog.
To put me on defensive. Now I have to defend whatever nonsense I write.
What I've done is like saving for like an emergency fund, 6 months of expenses into an emergency fund. So what would you suggest be the asset classes of the asset allocation for, particularly for the emergency fund?
There is no asset class. This has to be in places where you can withdraw. So it has to be a liquid fund or a short-term fund, a savings bank account, fixed deposit, cash at home. I mean, things can go wrong. Okay. Assuming you have a credit card where you can withdraw 50,000 rupees. So you have 50,000 in your savings bank account. Rather than lend money, you go to the ATM to withdraw. You're sleepy, you put your ATM card, you are about to withdraw money, then you press some wrong button, the card goes inside the machine. When can you get your card out? 24 hours. So for 24 hours you don't have that 50,000, it's gone. So the best 50,000 is cash at home. வீட்டில் புது வேலை கிடையாது கை வச்சுட்டா போயிட்டு risk எங்கேருந்து வரும் we have no clue. So you keep in various pockets, கொஞ்சம் இங்க and you hope that things don't go wrong. You do some kind of but no asset allocation. It's only which debt fund, which bank, how much of ATM limit, withdrawal limit, and a credit card. Suppose you have a credit card with a 5 lakh limit, the other doesn't emergency cash. Things can go wrong, that much you remember. That's why there is something called insurance.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
sir, suppose in next, I'm around 40 now, and at the age of 60, I want around 20 crores in hand.
Okay.
Like 20 crores, I want to accumulate the fund.
Okay.
So, in what way shall I do if I can save around 1 to 2 lakhs a month?
1-2 lakhs.
Sorry?
You want to say 1 or 2 lakhs a month, and will it reach 20 crores? 1 or 2 lakhs a month is 12 lakhs into 20 years, 2.5 crores. Yeah, I can't imagine 2.5 crores going to 20 crores. Just a mathematical thing.
In the span of 20 years,
Okay.
in which instrument shall I invest so that it gets accumulated to 20 crores?
Largely you can start with equity. After about 8, 10 years, 11 years, you can start reallocating some to debt. So today you go 100% into equity. After 10 years, you start putting 10% away into debt every year, and hope and pray that it does well.
Shall I do it direct into the equities or the
No,
equity
equity
funds?
mutual funds.
Equity mutual funds.
So equity mutual funds.
That has to be in blue chip companies or mid cap companies or small
Believe
cap.
me, nobody has an answer for us. Nobody has an answer. Even fund managers don't have an answer. They'll all tell you, mid-cap outperforms for the last 20 years. And it doesn't matter anything. Next 20 years, you don't know how it will perform.
With
It's a
regard
difficult
to
question to answer. Yeah.
medical insurance and creating a corpus of medical, which is better? Is it parallel?
You need to do both. You need to do both. You need to have a medical insurance, because if something were to go wrong for you today, it's a medical insurance which will come in. So you have a medical insurance and you start building up a corpus, because there are some expenses which I have seen which you are unable to predict. One is a fire accident. A fire accident, you can burn 38-40 lakhs in 3 days. This is how money goes. So even if you have insurance, you will have 5 lakhs, 7 lakhs, 10 lakhs. 38 lakhs you will not have. And cancer. These are two things which burn money at a very fast pace. Right? There is no short answer to this. So you do both. You create a medical insurance. You take a floater policy, you take a top-up policy and all that. And you keep creating a corpus. As long as you don't touch your medical insurance and